Hey, my more brothers, back again, and I don't know exactly what channel I'm actually going to put this on, okay? Because I really don't want it clogging up my main channel. But uh, I want to start responding to these long-term folks, these long-term detractors that won't go away. In other words, I always say it's like swatting flies. But what do you do if the fly just keeps buzzing around your head and won't go away? And sooner or later, you're gonna have to swat at it, right? So this is what we're going to attempt to do. And really, what I would love to do as I react to this video from Truth as I Know It, what I really love to do is understand where they're coming at, where they're coming from, and what's their issue. Because for 90% of the time, I have no clue what their issue actually is, because they really don't state it very well. So this is my first exploration from Truth as I Know It to actually understand what the hell is he talking about. Okay, so I'm going to react to it. There's going to be questions I'm going to have. I'm going to try to keep my condescending tone down because I am a intellectual snob. And when it's less than um, the intellectual standard, I can't get snobbish if I get pissed off. So I'm going to try to tone that down. I'm going to try to listen to what he has to say. I'm going to try to comment and react to it. So here we go. Truth as I Know It. It's something about you bash Keisha because you can't find uh, a family building female warrior, some shit like that. But we'll get to it, man. We'll get to it. Now, I will even put the link in the description, man, so you guys can go check out the whole thing, because I don't know if I can get through the whole thing. But we'll see what we can do. Okay, we're starting off with with preschool music already. Family structure authority. That's funny. Family structure authoritarian. What the hell does that mean? We pause it for a second. What the hell does that mean? Family structure authoritarian. What the fuck does that mean? Anyway, how we get past the music? Okay, let's skip forward a little bit.
They always say Keisha bashing and what it's really about, because it's a whole lot of drama. It's like, man, it's so.
Can we use some different music, man? At least tone down the music. Good Lord, man. What is this? A fifth grade science project music or something, man? The music is irritating me already. Why don't you just do a regular voiceover, or do use some kind of decent music, man? Instead of, it sounds like something from 1960 soap opera. But let's continue.
Opera. And you just notice these dudes that Keisha bash, they always say they don't want to be married. They don't have a girlfriend. It's actually kind of sad.
Actually, most guys that do so-called Keisha bash have kids. A lot of them are married already, believe it or not. They won't say it. And a lot of them have been married, twice, 2 or 3 times, and they do have girlfriends. I know there's brothers that are down in, they're expats down in Central America. Got 2, 3 of them that are married and have kids and Keisha bash. In fact, some of the worst ones are actually. In fact, I just talked to one, and he's in Los Angeles, and he does it, and he's married young. He's younger than you, married with 2 kids. He's married to a Latina. So, at least if you're gonna talk about it, get your facts straight. So already he's wrong,
and it leads black men astray. How does that sound? How does that music sound? Is that?
That music is awful. How does it sound? It's awful. Okay, and for a live stream, it's awful.
I think that should be loud enough. But I want to I want to drop in on Edward Anderson because he's one of these guys right now. He's actually, let me pull this up because he's actually Keisha bashing as we speak. Hold on, let me pause this real quick.
Oh man, this is awful. This is awful, man. It's gonna be hard to get through this, man. This is awful. And this is live streaming, and this is awful. But they wonder how come people don't watch them. And you want to have a whole stream and drop in on somebody and try to do something, and it's supposed to be contiguous and make sense. The music is awful, the music is loud, and you're trying to do something on the fly. And this passes as what? As content. Okay. Let me continue. Let me do a few more minutes of this. This is awful. I thought I was gonna be able to get through this, man, but this is awful. Okay, this is really bad.
This is gonna be perfect.
The graphics are awful.
Okay, let me.
It sounds like this looks like something like my grandson would do.
So you can see this.
Come on, man.
Should we full screen it? We'll full screen it. Let's just hop in and just see what he's saying. He had up May earlier, and he was talking crazy.
BGS is a fucking grandfather, active in multiple his grandkids, and his some of his kids are married. He has produced productive kids in fucking California, which, by the fucking way, is one of the hardest places to do that. BGS.
Okay, some of his kids are married, but he had May on. Let me pull this up because May was on here.
Oh, good Lord. Okay. Really, dude? This is what you're doing? Really, dude? You need to go study Reg the Bad Guy and how he does it, because he actually does it better. This is really what you're doing. This passes for critique. Okay, let me skip further into this, man, because this is pretty bad. This is pretty bad. Let's skip further into this, because so far, man, I don't want to go through this crap, man, because this is pretty bad. So let me skip forward.
Yeah, like, you know,
because you go, yo, when you keep doing this, Keisha.
Born. You know,
this stuff is awful, man. Jesus Christ. Your production values are awful.
Philosophy, I know.
Okay. Just because you're in your 40s, your 50s, or even your 30s, doesn't mean that you're a real leader of men.
It doesn't mean it, and it doesn't mean that you're not. It doesn't mean that you're not. And just because you stick out your chest and you have bad production values doesn't mean that you're a leader of men either. Okay. Yeah.
Peep what he's saying right here.
He's using Clarence, man. Clarence Jr., really? Clarence Jr., really? You really using him? One of the most lamest content creators in the so-called manosphere, okay, or anti-manosphere, okay, that attracts maybe 39 people on a live, okay, well, really less than that, 39 views on a live, or 39 views on a video, and you're using Clarence, really?
That's why I got the title. Not everybody is an OG, and OG is going to give you the game so that you can go out there and spread your wings and fly and be successful.
But the thing is, people say that it's about OG giving you the game, okay? My thing is, okay, if you have game and you got something that's really useful and you put it out there, people will use it and come back and tell you that what you've given them has worked. And when I listen to these guys critiqued other people that attempt to give advice, attempt to give people their point of view. But the thing is, you don't give your point of view. And If your point of view was actually superior, people will gravitate to it. Okay. I didn't recruit myself. I didn't just jump in and start doing videos. Okay. When I was in MGTOW, okay, I was a listener. And they said they needed more people to actually become content creators. So I threw my hat in. In fact, my second video was actually stolen by Sandman. Second video, my the third one was actually stolen by a couple of more people. So they've stolen my ideas. Okay, my second video called "Is MGTOW Dangerous?" Sandman stole it the next day. So be that what you will, right? When I came into this space, okay, Adagon Forrest, who was a MGTOW, basically said MGTOW was hostile to black men and black men's sentiments, or what black men's needs, right? So he said we needed to start IPMOR. I didn't start IPMOR. Adagon Force and Truth 40 actually started IPMOR. And they said, can you come in and make content under IPMOR? And I said, sure. So me and Black Ram left MGTOW, came over to the black side, and said, we're going to start a hashtag or a name called IPMOR. And I wasn't there more than a couple of months. And first it was Obsidian that recruited me, and then it was Valdez, Angry Man, that recruited me. That's how I got in. They said, we need you to make more content because we like what you're saying. I was recruited. Even my PhDs. I didn't recruit Dr. Johnson, okay? Dr. Johnson said he liked what I was saying, so he recruited me. And then I said, I need the people in the world need to hear what you're saying to actually counteract what's going on in the academy. And they need to hear it from you. So we need your voice. So I ushered him in, guided him in, and then GG fell into our laps, Green Gorilla fell into our laps, and Dr. Neal was already a sub. He was already a sub of mine. So a lot of these guys talk about OGs and give you the game. You guys are not giving anything to anybody. And that's the problem. You're talking and you're spending an hour and a half critiquing me, and you haven't said anything that's anything meaningful. Anything. Continuing.
The OG is going to put you on a path to be more successful than him. The OG is going to help you to reach higher heights and deeper depths and to do things that he never did. The OG is going to teach you to take things to the next level. That's all I'm saying. Like, if you're going to follow somebody and give them deference and respect and all these other kind of things, you should at least be able to say that, man, they're pushing me to the next level.
The thing is, how do you know they're not? Have you talked to them? Have you talked with them? Have you talked to the people that follow me? They really follow me. I'm not talking about just the guys that come by and use this for entertainment. Have you really talked to them? I mean, there's a hashtag going around that's called BGS was right. And I hear this at least twice a week. BGS, you were right. Right about what? Yada, 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 yada. And say, yeah, you couldn't see that. Well, BGS, you were right. What was I right about this time? Yada, 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 yada. And actually used it to my advantage. In fact, I gave a young brother, man. He's like 25, right? He's not an expat, but he's a digital nomad. And I was giving him game about Latin America, right? It's staying outside the main city. And he was in Colombia, he was in Brazil, he was in a couple of other places down in Latin America. I think it was Argentina. I said, and he wanted to go to Central America. So I told him, hey, why don't you go to Guatemala? I was there for 3 months, and I gave him the game, where to go, what to do, and how to move, right? The brother, I was actually on my Patreon stream yesterday, right? He wanted to get on to thank me. He said, because you gave me the game. He said, I would never realize about how what kind of valuable jewel it was until you told me. A lot of brothers that I was just talking to a couple of PhDs about Pan-Africanism. And they said I was right about what? About the way you look at Africa and Pan-African, or Pan-Africanism as a realist, as a black pill sentiment, as a realist sentiment, not the fantasy that we've been sold, but how it really works on the ground, and developing processes and avenues and structures to where we can actually integrate into that society, and what it takes, and how things actually really work. Because I studied that from 2003 to 2014. Okay, when I finally left it alone, I actually intentionally studied that for 11 years. I went to the continent a couple times. I talked to people. In fact, one time I was in Ghana. I talked to a guy running for president. He was running down to me what their needs were and what their outlook was. And we had this this big, not this big, but this discussion, this back and forth, right? When I was over there, I talked to the guy that was actually right for the magazine, the publisher of New African magazine, which is very famous in Pan African circles and on the continent. And we sat there, we chopped it up, we had a debate for like 3 hours. So I know this stuff. I know how it works because I know how global economics works. I know how global politics works because I study this stuff. And I try to give brothers the game that you will not hear anyplace else except on my channel. You won't hear it. You won't hear it in the white manosphere. You won't hear it especially in the black manosphere. You probably won't hear it in the broader YouTube. Okay, you won't hear this stuff unless I point it out to them. I mean, I got a brothers buying. The thing is, I should have an Amazon store because the price, when I mention a book, the price doubles. You guys said you guys give game. You speak strength into men. These people are not sixth graders. Okay, my subs are not 18-year-olds. Okay, the minimum age of my subs is like 25, 26 minimum. They're not babies. The bulk of my subs are from 35 to 55. They're not babies. A lot of them have kids. A lot of them are married. A lot of them are married. And I don't mind being criticized. Everybody can be criticized. Anybody can be criticized. Anybody can be critiqued. But the thing is, you're going to critique me, come with something. I remember I was on, I think it was a week or so ago, I was actually on AB Media's platform, right? That is Coliseum, about a couple of weeks ago. And Gabe A came on to discuss, more like a debate, more like an argument. It's not a debate. Good debate, you come with facts. And he wanted to disagree with something that I said. And so I asked him, what do you disagree with? He took about four things that I said, four different things that I said. He mixed them all up. Okay. And he said, well, I heard you say this, and I know what I heard. I said, okay, what'd you hear? He repeated it back to me. And it wasn't what I said. He took, like I said, took four different things for four different topics and smashed them all together. So I repeated exactly what I said. And he kept moving the goalposts because he had nothing. And even down to the point about digital nomads increasing, which I just pulled up an article from New York Times that talked about it. Okay. In other words, he was debating it. I don't see it. I said, have you looked? He said, no. Well, show me the proof. I said, dude, it's in the newspapers. If you're up to snuff on it and you've read it and you're an expert at it, as you claim to be, it's in the newspapers all over the place. They've been talking about it for 2 years. And he wanted to argue about it. I said, man, just go look. I mean, dude, you're not going to believe me anyway. Go look it up. I don't feel like arguing about a simple discussion about 2 lines, 30 seconds or something I talked about because somebody else asked a question. I didn't come up here for a debate. But at least if you're going to come up and critique it, have something. Okay. I did that with Judge Dre the other night. We talked about ESG. So I'm not up on it. Okay, I didn't know what it was. I keep hearing people talk about it in certain terms. I said, okay, what is it? He started describing it. Blah blah blah. I said, okay, man, where did it come from? What is it? Who created? Where did it come from? Because the sound ESG doesn't sound like something people just make up. And I said, well, I don't really know. I said, have you looked it up? No. Okay. So I took like 2 minutes to look it up. It's a UN mandate that has money behind it. So you get a better lending rate if you have a better ESG score, mandated by the UN. Part of their green technology, their green um, one of their green policies, right? That's what it's part of. In social, a social is in the middle of it. So you have to have an LGBT plus score, which is what people really focus on instead of the other two. And so, why does one company have a different ESG score that's a petroleum company versus one that's like Lucid, that's a technology company? I said, I don't know, man. Have you looked it up? Have you actually looked up and find out why there's a difference? Well, no, I didn't. So, why are you complaining about something you haven't even researched? And you see a lot of that. People have opinions without research. That's what I'm hearing out of truth. You got nothing. You have nothing. You complain, you call it Keisha bashing, but nobody talks about when I just did a video people are cheering about what marriage really is and what it's really meant for from a psychologist, right? From a PhD psychologist. I thought it was very interesting to actually talk about it from a structural standpoint and a social environment standpoint and a societal standpoint, how it's changed, okay, and what it means today. Thought that was important. Um, I talked about what we call the P word, right, which is partnership, which is something that went from male and female gender roles, gender norms, gender roles that changed over the last 30 years. We don't talk about that. That's not Keisha bashing. Or when I talk about going from a modern woman, as Kevin Samuels talks about it, to a modern wife, and she did I did 2 videos on that. Okay, what is it? What is a modern woman, and how do you describe yourself versus becoming a wife or a modern wife, and what do you struggle with? How do you make that transition? But nobody talks about that. It's always Keisha bashing because that's what the fuck you look for. When I actually talked about Chat GPT and AI, and that's how it was actually going to impact people's jobs and impact people's relationships. Because when you mess with the money, you mess with the jobs, you mess with the people. And how the stuff was built and how they're going to roll this stuff out and how Microsoft jumped the line. Coming from one of the CEOs, coming from the creators of this large language model. Had to listen to a whole freaking book talking about AI and what the creative geniuses that to put the stuff together. So it had to sift through a whole book, okay, about the history of it and how it was bought and sold and how they, all that kind of stuff to actually get around to actually understand this kind of stuff. Y'all don't read, y'all don't study. You guys go and listen to each other right on YouTube. You listen to Clarence Jr. like Clarence Jr. is an expert. Clarence Jr. is just 30 years old, man. He's got 2 small kids. He don't know shit. You're young. You just got married. You got 1 kid. You don't know shit. When I was 30, when I had my first kid at 28, 29, right? And they're babies. They're 2 years old and less than 1 years old. A little arm baby. Not even he hadn't even started crawling yet. I didn't know shit. And I would damn sure not gonna go up against somebody that has grandkids because they knew more. I had to go find out. I had to go ask my mother and father and my uncles and stuff like that I learned from how to discipline kids without hurting them. I learned that from my uncle. I watched him, okay, because he disciplined one of his grandchildren. And I watched him. I sat there and watched him. I said, "Oh, that's how you do it." I watched an older man. Why? Because he's lived through it. Whether you're married or not, you still got to raise kids. Whether you're married or not, you still got to deal with the mother of your children and co-parent. Whether you're married or not, you still got to deal with in-laws in the village and all the different people that have input on your children. You have to uh, decipher the input on the kids' teachers and where go to school at and what they learn and what they read and how do you get the kid to actually learn their math and do their homework. You learn that over time. If you got a toddler that can barely speak, you ain't learned nothing. How you gonna advise me about leading somebody when you have not even been there? How are you gonna tell me about leadership and about male female relationships when my daughter, my children are older than you? My kids are older than you. My children are older than you. How are you gonna tell me about life? How are you gonna tell me about women? I've, I personally know probably more women than you even met in your whole entire lifetime. I personally know them, still know them. I actually taught on a women's channel for 2.5 years. Have you done that? My first pregnancy scare was when I was 17, not 47. Have you done that? I'm a monk because I got tired of females. I got tired of them. And like I said, the juice was not worth the squeeze anymore. And I had a lot of help. And I learned from not black monks. I learned from white MGTOW monks. We all had the same freaking problem. We all had kids, all had grandkids. We just got tired. The thing is, you're coming in critiquing me and you haven't even done shit yet. I'm listening to you. Hell, you can't even run a proper YouTube video, okay? I'm looking at your shit. So, dude, what is this? And you listen to the people that also haven't done shit. Clarence Jr. hasn't done shit. I got a woman at home. I got two babies at home. I got to get up and go to work. Man, I did that shit for years. Okay, for years. Woman at home, two kids, and basically she had to work too. So basically, I had to haul the babies in in a car seat and a baby in the arm down down the stairs into the car into the back seat. Because I worked at night then. Give them to the in-laws to watch overnight, okay, and then go bust my ass for 10 hours at work, and then do this shit all over again. Why you gotta your woman yapping about shit that she can't have, okay? So I already been through that shit, and before that I was engaged before I even got babies. I was engaged, broke off an engagement. Before that, for her, I was with a woman that was 20 years older than me for about 3 or 4 years. That basically taught me the game. So by the time I got to the other women, they were like children because I got taught, brought on, and brought in by an older woman that taught me the game and how women think. I was 23, but I sat down and I listened to what she had to say. A lot of shit she said, I still remember today because she knew what the fuck she was talking about. And I listened. And I listened to other women and that added on to that. I sat in break areas with women that were 20, 30 years my senior about their husband, about their kids, about their grandkids. I listened to older men talk about their kids and their grandkids and what life was like and how they went through marriage and what they saw from marriage and how they worked their problems out. So all this built up knowledge over time and testing this stuff out in my own life, that's what I bring to you. Now, I don't go to Clarence Jr.'s page and talk shit and say, you need to listen to me, buy my book. I don't go to Truth As I Know It's page and go to this channel, say, buy my book. I don't care. Truth As I Know It found me. I didn't go looking for him. He was actually on my Coliseum a bunch of times. I didn't look for him. Evidently, something that we were doing, that we were talking about, interested him. Evidently, because he showed up. And now you talk shit. Dude, you've been around me for 8 years. You could, if you thought I wasn't worth nothing, or I wasn't a leader, or I had nothing to impart as far as wisdom, you could have bounced years ago. But you're still here. Why? You sound like one of my angry children because daddy didn't buy me a scooter, okay? Or daddy didn't go out and fly the kite that day because he had to work. That's what you sound like. Anyhow, I'm listening to this, man, and this is like, okay, this so far is hot garbage. So, I can't get through it. Sorry, Truth. I can't get through this, man. I would love to, but like I said, man, this is hot garbage. So, let me stop it here. I'll be doing AMA later on if you want to stop by and be respectful and have a discussion. But so far, this is hot garbage. I can't even get through this. So you know what? Peace out.